Alright, for this question, I'm not even sure you can use the calculator, and if you could, you'd probably circumvent what they're trying to get you to understand on this question, which is that you need to really understand these tables and how this works, because the calculator does take a lot of the manual labor out of it for you, but it also can take away some understanding if you're not sure. So what they want to do here is assume the significance level is alpha 0.1. Use the given information to find the p-value and the critical values. The test statistic of z equals 1.09 is obtained when testing the claim that p is greater than 0.2. So we're going to have to use the normal tables here. So I'm going to look at page 2. This is the link that you're going to click, and that's the one I'm going to bring into the screen here. Alright, so if we look at this table, the second table is pulled up, we're going to look at 1.0 and then 0.09. Alright, now what this is telling us is 0.8621. It tells us that on the normal curve, sorry, I redrew my graph that was getting off kilter from the very start. If we look at our normal curve, where the center of the curve goes through 0, when we go out to 1.09, somewhere out here, let's say, alright, the percentage of area that is over here, alright, this table always shows the cumulative area from the left. It tells us this area is 0.8621. Alright, so that's the area to the left. Now, what we have to read here and interpret and understand is that we're testing some claim that some probability or some proportion is greater than 0.2. So when we're trying to figure out what is the probability, if we have a z-score of 1.09, what's the chance of getting that or higher? That's when we have to actually look at the area that's over here on the right hand side, and so we look over here at this, and so if this area is 0.8621, then this area must be 1 minus 0.8621, or 0.1379. So essentially what that means is the probability of you getting a test statistic of 1.09 or higher is 0.1379, and that's what the p-value represents. It's the percent chance, and then we write as a decimal, percent chance that I got this result by chance. There's a 13.79% chance that I got this z-score so high above the mean by accident, essentially is a way of thinking of that. And so the greater than is what tells us that. Alright, if this had said less than, then we would use the 0.8621, because we'd be talking about the chance of getting something less than 1.09. But since it's greater than, we're talking about getting higher than. Alright, so now the second part of the question, it deals with the critical values. The critical value or values is our z equals. This is where you start to use the significance level. Alright, the significance of alpha equals 0.1. I'm going to use the table yet again, so let me go get the table in more detail. So what this question is getting at is, what is that z-score that I need to hit so that I have 0.1% of the area? So in other words, what is this score here that means that this area right here is 0.1? Alright, that's all that means right here when we say alpha is 0.1. So we go down our table, and so since this table goes from the left, we're looking for it to get up to 0.9, right? 0.9 is the area to the left, when the area to the right is 0.1. So the number that's closest to 0.9 is right here at 0.8997. That corresponds to a z-score of 1.28. So we use the table and find 1.28 as that z-score. Alright, so since we're only trying to prove that p is greater than 0.2, as I referenced earlier, we're only trying to prove that values are up here. This is what we call a one-tailed test. And so for a one-tailed test, you only have one critical value. Alright, so this answer here that goes here is just 1.28. Now if it's a two-tailed test, that's when you'd have to put 1.28 comma and negative 1.28. That would be a two-tailed test type response here, but we're not doing that because this is one-tailed, because we're only checking that the proportion is greater than, not that it's not equal. So hopefully this manual way kind of helps give some understanding.